Welcome back to the Real Estate 401k show. Don't throw it. Don't throw it. Dude, you're so predictable. I knew it was coming. Oh, aren't you guys cute? Hey, good one, buddy. Good one, man. Okay, anyways, my name is Mike Weinstein, and I'm with the two middle schoolers in the studio, Justin Frederick and Ryan Gerdes. Boy, one of the advantages that people have, and you're going to want to text the word buyer to 623-AZ-RECON. That's buyer to 623-AZ-RECON. One of the benefits, if you have listened to this podcast, is we just keep you up to date on the trends and what's happening in the market, whether we're in a seller's market, a buyer's market, somewhere in between. And we're typically not wrong. So it's really interesting. We've that Zillow market report. Zillow is reporting that last month, and as we continue to move forward in the very near future, and I say I don't think it's going to last long, Justin, because at the end of the day, we're going to be talking about interest rates and what's going to be happening to interest rates. But because of high interest rates, the growth of the Phoenix market has slowed down. And now we're just kind of, I don't think we're really going down too much, but we're not going up too much. We're kind of that in between. We're coasting. Not as many buyers are entering the market for a variety of reasons, Ryan, causing sellers to lose a little bit of the advantage. And I think we can categorically say right now, it is not a seller's market. It is truly a buyer's market. So I say that if you are one of those buyers waiting for whatever, I think the opportunity is going to be short. I would jump in and I would take advantage of it right now.
So interest rates are always going to play a massive role in the housing market. And in Metro Phoenix, the ones that have been impacted the most, I would say, are probably those sub-600s. And as interest rates have begun to soften, we've seen a lot more buyers not only enter the market but have more buying power. But what we're talking about here is the fact that we're seeing longer days on market, and we're seeing an increased amount of inventory because it's starting to compound upon each other because they're just not moving as fast. So one thing that it's not mentioning in here that we have been seeing as far as boots on the ground is showings canceling. And that is because earlier in this week we were talking about buyer-broker agreements and buyer-broker showing agreements. And we've had several cancellations because those agents weren't able to negotiate a buyer-broker agreement with their buyers. So their buyers either threw their hands up and said, I'm exiting the market, or I'm going to wait till I find a better buyer's agent to hire before I go start looking at homes. And we've already been seeing that. That's not me predicting anything or speculating. That's literally the reportings. So I think that a lot of things that have happened in the wake of that have been kind of tempering a lot of those buyers. And they're going to, if they're truly legitimate buyers, they're either going to find an agent that they want to work with, or they're just going to, they're going to finally throw their hands up and say, you know what, okay, I'm understanding that things are a little bit different now. I'm going to go ahead and sign off on this BVA with the agent that I've been working with for forever or that I trust. And then they're going to jump back in the game. So we're seeing a little bit of, a clog in the drain because of that. And I think that it's just a matter of time. And I'm not talking about a lot of time. I think it's just going to be a few months where people are kind of understanding the changes in the fabric of the real estate world, and they're going to start jumping back in because rates are a hell of a lot better than what they were. And as we've not only predicted in the past, but we've also done a lot of data research that as soon as we start seeing fives in front of interest rates at par, we are going to see a massive entrance and increase in buyers in the market. And we're right there on the brink of it because par's in the low sixes now, right? And so it doesn't have to improve a whole lot before we get to those fives, and you're going to start seeing a hell of a lot more competition.
Well, and when we see an influx of buyers into the market, it's going to swing back to becoming a seller's market. And If you're able to buy, if you're able to qualify right now, and you're in the market to buy a house, you'd much rather be in this market rather than a seller's market. I think, I think it's common sense, but then yet still people are waiting. And I'll tell you, if you listen to this show, we have proven over the last couple of years, we can be jackasses. Fair enough?
Fair.
Yeah, absolutely.
We are not above looking somebody in the eye and saying, hey, I told you so. There are going to be people who are going to call us 6 months from now and say, man, I wish I would have listened to you back in August. And we're going to say, you know what? I told you so. But there's a variety of reasons that people are waiting. And the one that's, I'm hearing it a lot, and I know our team's hearing it a lot. A lot of people, one, a little bit nervous about the economy, a little bit nervous about an impending recession. Some say we're at the tail end of the recession. Some people say we're heading to a recession. One, people need to understand 6 of the last 8 recessions in the United States, home prices went up. A recession does not automatically equal a housings to go down in value. So I think that's number one. Number two, guys, I just don't understand people going, I want to wait till the election's over. That one makes me scratch my head because what does it matter? If I need a home and I can get a good deal on a home today, and especially a home that's been on the market for 60 days, fallen out of escrow 1 or 2 times, because the other number that you didn't mention is we're seeing a high number of contract cancellations. Mm-hmm. As a buyer, that is what you want. What does it matter who's in the White House? It doesn't matter. This is your retirement. This is your real estate portfolio. And I think one of the biggest mistakes, say, hey, you know what? I'm just going to wait on exploring. I'm going to wait to look at options until after the election. And an election that's not going to really mean anything when it comes down to you going out and buying a home and needing a roof over your head.
Sure. And I think that probably the biggest opportunity is our investors out there. Big box investor companies, Open Door, OfferPad, and those types of hedge funds that have been, that have been buying homes in historic fashion during 2020. A lot of them have tightened up, right? And a lot of those people just said, you know what? Unless it's an absolute slam dunk, we're not looking at it. And so that's going to give a lot more opportunity for the people that are, looking for 1, maybe 2 to increase to their portfolio. I'm saying I personally am looking more towards the buy and holds now, where for the past year and a half, we've been more buy and flip or short-term holds. But now with, if you watched earlier in the week, we were talking about new home builders, some of those buy downs and some of those interest rates, you no longer need to date the rate. You can marry that rate.
Absolutely.
You can take it down to Mexico right now. It doesn't matter what you want to do with that rate.
And also get a good price on the home as well. So if I'm an investor, I'm looking for those sellers who are scared of the election, who are scared of the recession, and I'm jumping all over it and having them do massive seller concessions so that I can help buy down my rate. And bring Justin's team in there and get a really sexy number on there, and then I have something that I can build wealth with, that I can actually have some passive income. I can increase my tax advantages and put myself in an area that if I'm holding on to 5 or more years, I'm going to see some great potential on appreciation. So I would just say for our investors out there, start tweaking your model a little bit. Start looking at the numbers, and let's have a conversation about what that means and how to rebuild your algebra on how we approach those numbers.
Oh, yeah, and to Ryan's point, let's have a conversation. All you got to do is text the word buyer to 623-AZ-RECON. That's buyer to 623-AZ-RECON. And just to be candid, I only want you texting us if you're really serious. You're really serious about wanting to take advantage of the market, understand the market, and begin to build your real estate portfolio, whether it's home number 1 or home number 10. Again, text the word buyer to 623-AZ-RECON. All right, Justin, I'm not going to hold you to it. You're not going to guarantee anything, and you're not going to necessarily predict anything for us, because I don't want to get you in too much trouble. But what are we hearing? What are you hearing? I know you study economists and you're following this. Walk me through when it comes down to interest rates. Walk me through what people are saying about Q4 and how then that's going to impact the competition amongst buyers.
Well, I mean, we still haven't heard from it, but we had Jackson Hole at the end of last week, and they're going to be coming out and revising a lot of numbers. Job openings are way down. Unemployment's up significantly. We're seeing all the things that
You want to know where unemployment's not up significantly? Arizona.
Yeah,
Just a little
100%. 100%. We're seeing mortgage-backed securities continue to go up. We're seeing Treasury bonds drop. We have the Fed's meeting mid-September. We should see. There's a really good chance that we could see a 0.5% decrease to the rate, and that's not a direct impact to mortgage rates, but it's going to carry over. We could even possibly see a 0.75% reduction, and a lot of this is coming because from the economists are saying that we're a little bit behind the eight ball when it comes to reducing these rates.
And I've been trying to tell the Feds that for the last
me
18
too.
months. Nobody listens to me.
I keep writing Jerome Powell these letters on what I think. But this is a really good time. I really feel like we're seeing massive concessions, not only with the new builds like we've talked about earlier in the week, but we're seeing this with existing home sales as well. We just had a $1.4 million contract come in for an investor with 3% concessions. This is an investment property, and we're getting a low 6 on that interest rate. That to me, that's even in good times, a low 6 is very low for an investment property.
Yeah.
In a jumbo product. Go ahead.
Do you think that there's a possibility by the end of the year, by the end of 2024, that we're going to see a 5 in front of rates?
I absolutely think that. We already see it in the VA space. I absolutely think that we're going to see. I would say we have a 95% chance of seeing 5s in front of our rates by the end of this year.
All right. So then, Ryan, the argument that people are making with us is, okay, well, Justin just said it. Rates are likely to drop. We might see a 5 in front of it. It's going to make it more affordable for me. So I'm going to wait till then. I think it's a huge mistake. If you're able to buy today, because you're leaving if you wait and rates, we see a 5 in front of rates, there's going to be a buyer frenzy. It's going to become a seller's market. You are truly, in my opinion, leaving a lot on the table.
I think that if you're a first-time home buyer, you need to start mobilizing, and you need to start making sure that your assets are bulked up and that you are getting good, solid employment, that you're getting the hours that you need at work, and that you're showing up early, leaving late, and being a role model there at your place of employment. And we're already in a couple of situations right now where that's been a huge benefit, is that our first-time home buyers have been so good about exactly that with their place of employment and their assets. For the folks that are not first-time home buyers, especially if you have a VA loan, you need to start reaching out to Justin and his team and having IRRRLs discussions and refinance discussions in order to properly package what your current rates are, what your current loan programs are, to put you into a better position to gain some more runway for future opportunities. And again, like you had just mentioned, the seller on this jumbo property was giving a 3% concession. That you can do a lot with that in order to buy down loans. So even on a conventional product, you could potentially get somewhere in the 5s with enough buy down on it.
Oh, absolutely.
Right?
You can get in the 5s. We're
right.
mid-5s right now.
So if you're following the 401k program and you're going to use your current home as a investment property and buy your next home, move into it, and have that be your primary, this is exactly the opportunity you've been waiting for.
Total side note. You just mentioned the word refi, and it triggers something with me. And, I always hate to do it, but I'm going to compliment Justin. So, last month we saw rates drop, and we have a lot of investors and a lot of buyers that bought high, or bought with a higher interest rate, and we told them that, hey, when interest rates start to drop, we're going to
Take
have
that
this
rate.
discussion. Yeah, and so I called two of our clients just to have conversations with them about it, and they're like, yeah, Justin already called me, and I'm like, so this is why the Frederick team, like. It's not just the now. It's the strategies. It's to build that real estate portfolio, and it's a long term. So just kudos to you, man.
Thank you. Well, I mean, that's what we're here to advise our clients, and we're a partnership and trying to make sure that I stick up with my end of the deal and keep these people informed. I'm not wanting anybody to pull the trigger on refis right now, but I'm letting them know, hey, it's happening. We're looking for the future. We're going to see what happens here.
All righty. If you, if anything that we've said makes sense to you, you understand how serious that we take this, and you understand how serious we take the market and our understanding of the market. We want to have this conversation with you, whether you are a first-time home buyer, second-time home buyer, or like us, the three of us, savvy investors. All you got to do is text the word buyer to 623-AZ-RECON. That's buyer to 623-AZ-RECON. All right, Justin, you are up. It is Friday. What are we doing?
All right, so this is my space, and not everybody likes to live in my space, but I think everybody likes to see a good rodeo. I don't know. I feel like once in your life, people want to go see a good rodeo. We're active in the rodeo community. My daughter competes all the time. So my topic today is, what's your favorite rodeo grounds, and where is it, and why? What you got, Mike?
Well, I have only been. Rodeos aren't my.
You'd get your ass kicked.
Yeah,
is what I was trying to say.
it's not my space. I did though when I was a kid. My parents took me to a rodeo at the LA Forum, and I just had a great time. I just didn't raise my kids to like rodeos and so forth. So I don't know. I don't know where rodeo grounds are. I haven't been to a rodeo in probably 35 years. But I will tell you where I've always wanted to go see a rodeo.
Okay.
Will that count?
Yeah.
So when my kids were little, they were my oldest now, who just sent him off to college. So, but when he was a little boy, he was addicted to trains. We watched every train video. We had model trains. We had Thomas the Train. And I don't know the name of the train, but there's once a year when Wyoming is doing their big rodeo, there is a old-fashioned classic steam engine that you take out of either Denver or Colorado Springs. You hop on the steam engine, you take it up to Wyoming for the rodeo, and I'm like, I would do that right now.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be amazing.
Is that the rodeo out of Cody, Wyoming? Do you know?
Okay, let's just
All
be
right.
thankful
No,
that
you're good.
I've come this far.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Good job. Good job.
And I'm not, I don't have a huge deep background in it, but I've been to my fair share. I'll tell you my favorite rodeo experience, and then I'll tell you, it was at, I don't remember what it was called at the time, but let's just call it Bank One Ballpark. They did
the Bob.
Chris Ledoux came into town.
Oh my
cool.
gosh.
And he had a rodeo right before his concert. That might have been my favorite rodeo experience. Growing up, we always went over to the Payson Rodeo Fairgrounds, and so that's definitely going to be my favorite one because they always had a big 4th of July one, and then they'd have other exhibition ones, and so that was always my favorite one growing up. But
Very cool.
Dude, and I'm so bummed that I can't do it, but the Hondo Rodeo is coming, and they have a bunch of really cool artists, Hank Williams Jr., Brooks and Dunn, and whatnot,
gosh.
and that's happening on the 7th through the 9th, and I won't be in
Where's
town.
that?
Oh.
It's over at, is it at Chase or it's at the ballpark, right?
I think it's at the Coliseum area, right? I don't know.
I just looked at the dates and I was just like, I'm not going to look any deeper because I know I can't go, and so I was so bummed. But it looks awesome, man.
There's got to be, like, you're talking to a true cowboy or someone who's a true like diehard rodeo person. If you know who Chris Ledoux is without Garth Brooks, you're part of the rodeo community, right?
Sure, yeah, for sure. So I'll start with one of my favorite experiences, and then I'll lead into where my favorite rodeo in Arizona is. But my favorite experience was when I was a kid. So a lot of my family is from Kansas, and this is the way I see the rodeos and the way they're supposed to be, because it's really blown up now, and there's a lot of high income people that do it. But when I was a kid in Kansas, all the ranchers from all across the lands would come to just these little fairgrounds in these little cities, and they would compete with their ranch horses. Nothing special, no crazy amount of money that they're spending. These are just horses that were raised on their ranches, and they come together and they do these rodeos, and even the bulls right off the pastures and the steers right off the pastures. That was a lot of fun to me because it was just like a huge family environment. I had tons of cousins and everybody there. We just go sit out and have a picnic and
You gonna
hang
cry?
out.
Are
It
you
was
gonna
cool.
cry?
No, it was just cool.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a great memory of mine.
I'd like to go to a rodeo with you.
Yeah, you should.
All right.
Favorite rodeo grounds is Prescott Rodeo Grounds.
That's a big one.
Yeah, they have huge rodeos there, but mostly because of where my daughter competes with, like the high school rodeos and how convenient everything is, and just the grounds are set up perfect, and it's nice and comfortable to sit there. They got backs on the bleachers, which a lot of rodeo grounds don't have that. That helps out the old back a lot. So. And I love the weather there. It's tremendous. It's great.
Have you been to the one in Wickenburg on Frontier Days?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I'd love to check that one out.
That's
too.
cool. There's also really cool rodeo grounds in Taylor, Arizona. They have a huge 4th of July. The whole town gets involved. It's really cool.
Well, if you're buying up there, one of our incredible team members lives in Taylor, Arizona. So if you're looking at the White Mountains and horse property anywhere,
There you go.
But anyways, thank you for bearing with us through rodeo talk. But we're talking about buyers and taking advantage of the current market conditions. Again, we'd love to have that conversation with you. All you got to do is text the word buyer to 623-AZ-RECON. That's buyer to 623-AZ-RECON.